take a look at the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Collection Deluxe Class Decepticon Crasher. And of course, before we get into the packaging, I do have to say this is not a stolen copy. I got it from a legit toy site called Toy Arena. If you want to, just look up the site in Google. Unfortunately, I was going to leave the link in the description of this video, but it is actually unfortunately sold out on their site. But if you want to, just check the site periodically and maybe you'll be lucky and it will come back in stock. But with that, all of that out of the way, let's now take a look at the packaging. So of course we have Transformers on the side, Decepticon Crasher, we have Crasher, really nice artwork there with a shoulder missile launcher there. Of course we do have the Legacy logo. Up here we do have a nice product shot of Crasher and the race car alt mode, and of course a nice artwork shot of the alt mode, and we have an open window displaying the figure in the packaging. Really just a continuation of the front artwork. And on the back, the figure transforms in 18 steps, 2 product shots, one of the robot and alt mode. And of course, if we go to the side here, a really nice artwork shot of Crasher. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. Let's now get into the review. Crasher in their vehicle mode. Let's take a look at the details. Starting at the very front of the race car, we have some nice gray and a layered effect for this whole fin section with some red. They're looking very good with some silver and some white for this racing number with a 0 and 1, with some really cool mechanical detailing all attaching to this wheel, which looks pretty good. We have some silver for the interior of the wheel with some black plastic for the tire itself, and unfortunately all 4 wheels are actually mushroom peg, which is kind of unfortunate, but not the biggest thing in the world. Now going to the middle of the car, we have some nice dark red here and some lighter red here where that silver Decepticon symbol is. It is kind of weird how there is 2 shades of red. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or a mistake. I kind of would have liked all the red to be one shade, but of course my eyes could just be playing tricks on me. I'm not really sure. And of course, moving to the driver's suit, we have some nice white there with some mechanical detailing like a steering wheel and some buttons, which looks pretty good with some glossy black plastic on the side of the vehicle, which I actually really do like, very shiny and sleek. Going to the back, of course, some nice red stripe there with some glossy black as well, and this whole back fin section done in black and white, with this back wheel being slightly bigger than the front wheel with some more interior detailing where that silver section is, and it is also mushroom peg as well. But detail wise, overall looking very cool. I think they of course could have had the red the same shade also. It would have been nice maybe if they had some more paint apps here, because it does seem a little bit bare and bland, but it does roll very well across the ground, and overall detail wise I think they did a pretty good job. Let's now get into the accessories. They're the exact same 2 that came with Mirage and the Leadfoot. So first up is the rocket launcher, so you can, if you want to, separate the rocket and have him blasting off in like a battle pose or stop motion if you want to, which is pretty fun to do. And unfortunately both accessories are actually very bland. They're just completely cast in black plastic, which I think is very boring. Of course the detail actually looks really good. There's a scope, and of course the missile is very pointed, and definitely Blaster Piece compatible, which is always nice. But it would be nice maybe if they took some of the red or silver from the Decepticon symbol and put it maybe on the tip or where the scope is, just to add a little bit more character to the blaster. I do know why it's black, so of course it can match the same color scheme as Crasher. It just seems a little bit plain. But you can store these on either side. There is a port and port, and of course you can use the peg or handle from the gun, and you can just plug that into place, which looks pretty cool. And as for the second accessory, it's the exact same one that came with Mirage and Leadfoot. It's the blaster, which again looks really good sculpt-wise. Of course, there's an ammo clip and a targeting system thing, but it just seems very plain and boring. I kind of would have liked some more paint apps on the gun as well, but you can just plug it into that side, and that is the complete look for Crasher. Overall looking very cool. Let's now get into some vehicle mode comparison. So first up, here's Crasher with Leadfoots, and overall I think they look pretty cool next to each other. As you can see, of course, sculpt-wise, they are the exact same thing, same accessories, just a completely brand new redeco. And I do think they did a better job on the accessories. You can actually see there's some nice metallic blue where the missile is, and that would have been nice maybe if they got some red and put that where the missile was. It can really make a world of difference. But sculpt-wise, again, the exact same, just really your personal preference of which deco you like more. Personally, my favorite of all 3 versions of this mold is Leadfoot. That is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite, Crasher, Leadfoot, or Mirage, which I will bring out in just a sec for a comparison. But 2 really cool looking race cars together, and a side view. Overall looking very cool. Taking Leadfoot off to the side, we can now bring out the original Mirage from Kingdom, the Battle Across Time exclusive. And again, looking very cool. And they just really didn't do a good job with Mirage's accessories either. Just solid gray plastic, which I think just looks kind of unfinished and boring and bland. So hopefully, maybe they can make another version of this mold that's, one, not exclusive, because if you did realize, all three versions of this mold so far, Mirage, Crasher, and Leadfoot, have all been either an Amazon exclusive or a Walmart exclusive. So hopefully, they can make a new version, maybe in Legacy or another line, using this mold, of course, with maybe a new head sculpt, and of course the same accessories that can have some better paint on them. Just really would be nicer, but also of course it would be nicer for people to get this mold easier, because all three versions being exclusive is kind of a pain for people who want a good Mirage or Crasher or Leadfoot figure. But looking very cool next to each other. Let's now get one final glamour shot of all three next to each other. And again, let me know in the comments of these three which ones you like the most. Personally, my favorite is Leadfoot. I think there's a lot more paint apps, the tolerances are a little bit better, and I just really like that head sculpt. But overall, looking very, very cool next to each other. And that is pretty much it for the alt mode. Let's now get a transformation into the robot mode. So it's the exact same conversion and transformation as Mirage and Leadfoot. So if you have those figures, you know exactly what to do here. So what you're going to want to do is get the arm, just move this section up, split the arms. Of course, there is a tab on this side and a slot on this side, and then you can split these whole shoulder sections and move them up like that. And then what you're going to want to do is get this whole swivel section, move these out. You can then get this section, move that open. There is a slot on this piece and a tab there. You can flip out the head, and then again, of course, there is a tab and slot that will just close up like that. If you just align that perfectly, then you can move in the wheels to fill in those gaps. And then let's now move to the legs. So you're just going to untab this whole fin section, and then you're going to want to get this tab here around this whole section right here. So just move that around and out like that, and then you can get this whole wheel section. This is going to fold in like that while you fold out the foots, and then all this will just collapse down like that. And then you're going to swivel out the leg, fully collapse that wheel, and there we have one of the legs all done. So again, have that tab over this piece right here. So just move this out like that, bring the wheel in, bring the foot out, collapse all of this down, use that swivel, collapse the wheel in a little bit more, and then what you're going to want to do is get the entire top section and use that hinge and bring it down like that, which can be a bit of a pain. There we go. Very secure connection. And then there is a tab here and a slot on the shoulder, so just tab that into place like that, move this whole section up. Do the same thing on the other side, so just tab that section in, move that shoulder piece up. You can then flip out the hands just like that. And there we have Crasher in their robot mode. Overall, looking very cool. Let's take a look at the Crasher in their robot mode. Let's take a look at the details, starting at the very top with that head sculpt. Some really nice yellow for the eyes, some pink for the face, and some red for the side of the face, with some really nice glossy black plastic for the main helmet section. Getting down to the arm and shoulders, there's some really nice glossy black plastic for this fin piece, with some white and more black for the shoulder, and the really nice layered effect for the forearm, some more black for the hand, and a really nice red stripe at the side of the arm. Getting down to the chest, of course, some nice white for the racing number with a 0 and 1, with some more red on the side, with some really nice silver for this whole front car piece on the chest, which actually looks pretty cool. And it's actually really nice how this is a faux piece, not actually used in the vehicle mode. And of course, more white at the top of the legs, some red for the main waist and crotch section. Getting down to the front of the legs, some nice glossy black plastic with some more gray for the feet. And if you do go to the side, there is a little bit of kibble, but actually it doesn't bother me. I actually like how you can see a bit of the fin and wheel from the alt mode, and there's some a little bit of red there, and actually half of the silver Decepticon symbol. So overall, detail-wise, looking pretty cool. Really no kibble on the back itself, and overall looking very cool. Let's now get down to articulation. So the head can move up and down, and of course side to side. It's on a ball joint. As for the arm, of course, you can move all the way around, out and in. There is an elbow bend, a bicep swivel, and if you want to count this as articulation, you can actually move these little panels here at more of an angle if you want more of a crazy battle pose. Unfortunately, no wrist swivel. You can actually fold in the hands, but that's really due to transformation. There is a waist swivel to a full degree. The leg can kick that far forward, that far back on a very stiff joint. There is a knee bend and ankle pivots, and if you want to, you can actually point the toe, but that's actually due to transformation. And if you move the arm out of the way, the leg can kick that far out. Pretty much the full splits, and that is it for the articulation. I kind of wish there could be a wrist swivel, but unfortunately there is not. I would say that's really the only complaint for the articulation. Another minor one, I guess I could say, is the ankle pivot could be a little bit better. That is pretty minor of a one, but it's actually pretty nice how you can actually tip the foot or toe in, which usually you cannot do with figures. That's pretty much it for the articulation. Let's now get into the accessories. So I briefly did show them earlier. So the first one is the rocket launcher, which you can actually store on the hand, unfortunately not on the shoulder, which is actually kind of odd. So whenever you get this figure and hand on the box, it actually does show, for one of the artworks for this figure, it actually does show the rocket launcher stored on one of the shoulders. That is kind of a interesting little thing they put in there, but you cannot actually do, which is unfortunate. So you can store it here if you want to, like that, which looks pretty cool. And if you don't want to do that, you can actually store this on the back. I'm not sure if this is an official storage place, but there is a port there, and you can plug this into the back if you want to, just for some extra storage if you don't want him holding both weapons. But I typically will just have both weapons in Crusher's hand, like that. And of course you can do the same for the blaster. You could store that on the back if you want to, and just have them using the rocket launcher. And that's it. That is pretty much it for the accessories. Let's now get into some comparisons. So first up here is Crasher with their Wave Mates Shadow Strip, and I actually did a review on the channel. That should be up right now, so make sure you go check that out after this review you're watching. And they overall look pretty cool next to each other. And between the two, I actually do like Shadow Strip a little bit more, but I actually do highly recommend Crasher. But they do look pretty cool next to each other. I'm actually very looking forward to the next deluxes of Wave 2 with the Legacy Velocitron line. And taking them off to the side, let's now get into some mold comparisons. Here is Crasher with Mirage, and of course Leadfoot. I do apologize if Mirage is blasted out by my lighting. I do apologize about that. Of course, most of the figure is white, so I really do apologize about that. But as you can see, mold wise, they're very similar, really just down to the head sculpt that is the mold change. Of course, the accessories are the same. Everything else is the exact same. It's just down to the preference of which deco you like the most. My favorite is Leadfoot. If I were to pick a second favorite, I would have to put Crasher. The only thing I really have a big problem with this figure is the accessories. They're very bland. It's only done in black, and I do have that same problem with Mirage. Just gray plastic and black plastic. I really do like that metallic blue for the missile. I think that does make a world of difference. Let me know in the comments section down below between these three, which one do you like the most? And that is pretty much it for this comparison. Let's now get down to the final thoughts. Let's now get down to the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Collection Deluxe Class Crasher, starting in the ROM. I think overall it looks pretty good. Of course, the accessories are the exact same ones that came with Mirage and Leadfoot, and I'd say that's probably one of the main problems I have with this figure. Unfortunately, they're very unpainted, kind of bland. It would have been nice maybe if they took some of the red or silver from the Decepticon symbol and put it on some of the accessories, because they're just done in black, which I think is a little bit boring and bland. But articulation, pretty standard, of course, exact same as Mirage. I think they probably could have done a better ankle pivots, and unfortunately there is no wrist swivel, but I really guess they really couldn't have done anything about that. This is a repaint, so really you can't blame Crasher. I would blame, of course, more Mirage, because that was the original version of this mold, but it would have been nice if it was included. But the rest of the articulation is pretty good, of course. Waist swivel, good articulation in the arms and legs. Actually, pretty much no kibble on the back. I know people have complained about the kibble behind the legs, but personally it does not bother me. Another complaint of people having is, unfortunately, you cannot store the rocket launcher on the shoulder, which is typically how Mirage would store it in the old G1 cartoon, which is actually a bit odd that you cannot do this, because if you actually get, whenever you get this figure in hand, look on the packaging, there is actually an artwork shot of Crasher with the rocket launcher on their shoulder. So I'm kind of wondering why they show that in artwork, but you weren't actually able to do that in the actual toy. You can store the gun or rocket launcher on this port back there, but unfortunately you cannot actually store it on the shoulder itself. I know there is probably some third-party or 3D 3D prints that you can do to modify it, but as it is, unfortunately, you cannot do that. Getting down to transformation, of course, overall pretty simple, exactly the same as Leadfoot and Mirage. So if you have that figure, you know exactly what to do here with this figure. If you don't have any versions of those, obviously you probably need the instructions about maybe 2-3 times. Overall, pretty simple transformation. Getting down to the race car mode, I actually do quite like it. Really like the glossy black plastic. The silver Decepticon symbol looks pretty good, and storing the accessories on the side of the car always looks pretty good. Unfortunately, because of course the accessories are black, the race car is also black where you store them, so it just kind of maybe blends together too good. That's why I kind of would have liked maybe if they put some more color on the accessories or the race car, just to kind of break up all the black in the same color. Another complaint, or I'm not sure if this was a personal design trait for specific reasons, but weirdly enough, there's like 2 different shades of red on the car. I'm not sure if they did that on purpose or if that was a mistake. I would have liked maybe if they were the same shade, because there's like a light shade and a dark shade. Looks a little bit weird to me because they're actually right next to each other, so that would have been nice if that was a little bit better matched. Again, that could have been on purpose or a mistake, who knows, but overall, a pretty good figure that I do recommend. I think Shadow Strip is a little bit better of a figure. There's less kind of quality control problems. The accessories look a little bit better with the nice blue, and of course there's not color mismatch problems with that figure, but that is just my personal opinion. Let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below of the 3 versions of this mold, which being Leadfoot, Mirage, and Crasher. Which one is your favorite? Personally, my favorite is Leadfoot. If I have to pick a second place, it would be this one. That is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.